Hello, everybody. Welcome to another fun and awesome episode of Youth Connect. I'm Aiden.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Logan.
I'm Jeffrey.
And welcome to our Youth Connect. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode. I hope you're excited. I cannot believe it. It's already Friday. And to be thinking about that, holy macaroni, this week flew past. For those who don't know, what in the world is Youth Connect? Youth Connect is a news, interest, entertainment show that was created during the pandemic for the community, by the community. And everybody here is ready to share with you some awesome news. We are all advocates for inclusion and advocates for all abilities. And as broadcasters, entertainers, we want to be included in opportunities for acting, directing, writing, chefs, speakers, artists, and musicians. Youth Connect is a show that I know that you are going to absolutely love. And just so you guys know in advance, we will not be having Joshua or Nibras with us today, but do not worry. We will bring you some awesome news that is definitely going to rock your world. I will ask everybody, and I'll ask my co-host, are you guys ready to rumble?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Yep, we are.
Three.
All right. So, if you guys don't know, first things first is some gaming news. All right, guys. So, let's talk about that Spotlight Game of the Week. This is where I'm going to be bringing that one Spotlight game that I want you, and I mean you, to check out. So today's Spotlight Game of the Week is actually something of kind of like a favorite in a sense because this game has been huge, especially for when it's first released in 1996. We have the Tomb Raider Remastered Collection. So if you don't know, the story is that you will be discovering Lara Croft's original adventures. Lovingly restored for the first time ever, you will be able to play the complete experience with all expansions and secret levels on modern platforms in this definitive collection. The collection includes Tomb Raider 1 and its unfinished business, Tomb Raider 2 and the Golden Mask, and Tomb Raider 3, the Lost Artifact. So you'll be solving ancient mysteries by uncovering treasures of the ancient world, by solving puzzles and unraveling mysteries lost to the ravages of time. Follow Lara Croft on a globe-trotting adventure and face off against deadly foes and dangerous myths. You know what, you could, and interestingly enough, with this remastered version, you could choose how to play with the option to go to the original polygon look, or if you want to enjoy this remastered, upgraded texture, modern graphics in this beautifully recolored and restored remaster. I don't know about you guys, but if you are a gaming buff, you know that Tomb Raider was a huge series. Lara Croft was such an important and iconic video game character of the 90s. Everybody said how Lara Croft was one of the first iconic female characters of the 90s. Actually of video game history that had such a huge impact. She was in commercials, she was in other games, she was everywhere, and she was such an important icon. So if you guys haven't played the Tomb Raider series, I played the Tomb Raider series, but if you haven't played the Tomb Raider series, this actually released recently on PC. So if you guys ever have the chance, I recommend that you check out Tomb Raider Remastered or the Tomb Raider series Remastered. Anyways, though, some interesting news. But next up, we got even more interesting news with Kevin, who's going to bringing us some all-important news, and I just cannot wait to hear the interesting fact he has to share with us today.
Hello. Oh, thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Youth Connect News, when I bring news, weather, and our very own interesting fact. I'm your host, Kevin Aruja, so let's get right into the headlines. The 3-year construction project to transform the ROM will begin soon. The Stouffville residents concerned that community gardens could be razed to make way for demilitarized tank. Canadian Tire reports Q4 profit and sales down compared with the year earlier. And the Toronto Blue Jays manager says team has sense of urgency as camp opens. The Royal Ontario Museum announced on Wednesday that it plans to undertake a sweeping architectural transformation of its main floor as part of a 3-year construction project that will begin early this year. In a news release, the museum said the Open ROM project will dramatically open the museum up to the public and add 6,000 square feet of new gallery space on the second and third levels. The renovation would include a redesigned Bloor Street entrance that the museum says will deepen ROM's connection to the city. The museum will stay open during the 3-year construction project, which has been funded by part of a $50 million donation from the Hennick Family's Foundation. Siamak Hariri of Toronto's based firm Hariri Pontarini Architects oversees the renovation design. The museum added that once construction is complete, it will offer ongoing free access to the main floor, building on its summer-long free main floor pilot program first introduced in 2022. The ROM said in addition to reimagining the core of the museum, enhancements are also been made to exterior spaces, including a new water feature that will wrap around the building's facade near Bloor Street and Queen's Park. Stamstufville residents are raising concerns about the fate of a flower garden that could soon be razed to make way for a demilitarized war tank, which could be installed alongside a cenotaph. In a public blog post, Stufville Mayor Lan Lovat said there is the potential demolition of the garden has to do with the issues of not having a permanent place for the community cenotaph. It's currently of the Legion, whose past president requested that it will be located to Memorial Park. But a few residents are speaking out about the potential loss of a community garden, which was planned to mark Canada's 150th anniversary in 2017. So far, more than 1,600 of them have signed an online petition asking the town to reconsider the plan. Bostock explained that the Stouffville Horticultural Society feels that the garden going would be a terrible waste, as it already established and well liked by the community. In addition, she mentions that perhaps new immigrants would not enjoy the demilitarized tank as they would to replace the garden. In response to the possibility of the garden being replaced by the tank, Bostock launched the online petition Nix the Tank, Save the Canada 150 Garden on change.org. The petition starts on January 15, 2024, and has since received 1,646 signatures of the 2,500 goals. Lovat has since announced that the council will open a public consultation about the future of Memorial Park alongside the garden, cenotaph, and tank. The date of the consultation has not yet been confirmed. The Canadian Tire Corporation reported its fourth launch profit and revenue fell compared with a year ago as it was navigated a challenging economic environment. The retailer says earned a profit attributable to shareholders of $172.5 million or $3.9 per diluted share for the 13-week period ended on December 30th. The result compared with a profit of $531.9 million or $9.9 per diluted share in the same quarter a year earlier. The Canadian Tire said its normalized diluted earnings per share of the quarter came to $3.38 compared with a $9.34 a year earlier. The revenue totaled $4.4 billion, down from $5.34 billion in the fourth quarter of 2022. The company says consolidated comparable sales were down 6.8% as it saw a softening of consumer demand, compounded by weaker sales due to unseasonable weather across the country in December. And in sports news, eager to look forward after another quick postseason exit last year, The Toronto Blue Jays opened camp on Thursday with a sense of optimism and a belief that they can contend again in the always tough American League East. It was the first formal workout day for pitchers and catchers as the team's Florida development complex. Some position players were on hand for training, but they don't have to formally report until early next week. The Blue Jays squeaked into the playoffs last year after an 89-win campaign, but were eliminated after back-to-back losses in Minnesota. It was the third time in 4 years that Toronto was swept in the opening round. In 2022, the Seattle Mariners erased a 7-run deficit in Game 2 at Rogers Center to advance. Last year, Toronto managed to cede only one run over two playoff losses at the Target Field. Most of the roster remains intact for the 2023 lineup with a few exceptions. Starting, pitching, and team defense were the main strengths last season, but Toronto's offense struggled at times. Don Mattingly has taken on an enhanced role as offensive coordinator to get the bats back in form. Meetings and workouts were the order of the day on a warm and breezy morning under partially sunny skies. The Blue Jays will begin the preseason schedule on February 24th against Philadelphia. The regular season opener is set for March 28 at Tampa Bay. In today's weather forecast, we've got scattered flurries this afternoon. The temperature is now -1 degree. And tomorrow we will get a mix of sun and clouds. The temperature will be -4 degrees. As I know many of you must have celebrated on Valentine's Day, but how many of you know that we celebrated Valentine's Day? So my interesting fact of the day, it is Valentine's Day. So story about Valentine's Day is a holiday that people celebrate on February 14th, which is 2 days after this week. On Valentine's Day, people greeted loved ones, close friends, family members, and classmates by sending them cards called Valentines. People also give candy, flowers, and other gifts to loved ones. Valentine's Day gifts often come packed in a red heart-shaped box. People have celebrated Valentine's Day with thoughts of love since at least of the 1300s. According to an old European legends, February 14th is the day that birds pairs off each year to start their new families. February 14th is called Valentine's Day because of the Valentines on that day. So the first fact for Valentine's Day, the first Valentine's Day celebration took place in France. Although the exact first celebration is hard to pin down, the first official Valentine's Day as a celebration of love occurred in Paris in the 1400s, making it an appropriate time to celebrate romance. The second fact is the inventor of candy hearts started out by producing medical lozenges. In the 1800s, Boston pharmacist Oliver Chase invented a machine to simplify the process of making lozenges. The machine was later used to make heart-shaped candy with message printed on them. And the third fact is consumers buy over 50 million pounds of chocolate and candy for Valentine's Day. Heart-shaped boxes of chocolate make up 10% of Valentine's Day candy sales. And the last fact is the chocolate box has been around for more than 150 years. 150 years. It was around 1850 the Cadbury Company took advantage of falling import costs that has created the first box of chocolate. A decade later, they created the first heart-shaped box of chocolates. On a sweet note, we come to the end of my segment, wishing you and your families a very happy Family Day. This is Kevin Ruja signing off. Now over to Aiden. See you next Friday.
You know what, Kevin, I want to talk a little bit more about Valentine's Day. You know what? We always want to make sure that people that don't have, because if we know Valentine's Day that we associate with is being with a loved one or, being with your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever you prefer. But it's very important that we remember that showing love for yourself and appreciation for the love that surrounds us and whatever simple self-care activities that we can do to bring us joy, to help us rest or relax is very, very important as well. Because just as much as during Valentine's Day, we show love to others, it's very important that we show some love to ourselves. Now, if you don't want to show love for yourself, there's always connecting with an old friend, take a nap, do your favorite home hobby that you've been wanting to try, enjoy the outdoors, or even eat your favorite food. Those are some ways of showing yourself some love. And I love the news, Kevin. It's very important that we remember that. And just learning about some self-love is very, very important. All right. Time to get into the second news. Oh, actually, let me ask. Jeffrey and Logan, did you guys have a favorite part of Kevin's news? Did you have a favorite part? Because I loved the Valentine's Day talk, because we in our
I love
community
Valentine's
talked
Day
about
talk too. Me too.
Yeah,
huh?
I agree.
I agree with the Valentine's Day one.
Yes, we talked about it in our community because we wanted to learn a little bit more about self-love, because self-love's important. And it's a very weird topic to think about, because nobody thinks about loving yourself on Valentine's Day. But you don't have to love yourself. You can just take care of yourself on Valentine's Day. That's the best way to think about it.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, Kevin, thank you so much for the news. I really appreciate it. And now it is time to move on to our second gaming news. And the second gaming news is, and now actually I have a second section, is called What is Happening in the Gaming World? Well, very interesting. Microsoft once again. Microsoft has a bit of a habit of making custom themed Xboxes. And Microsoft has once again created the first floating Xbox controller in celebration of Dune Part 2, alongside a special Xbox Series X. Revealed on the Xbox Wire, the controller doesn't technically float by itself, but obviously it sits on atop a stand that does. And think about that, guys. A Xbox controller is pretty heavy, so it would need a very strong force. I don't know how it's floating, but a specially designed a console holder inspired by the ornithopter captures the vibrant colors of Ericus Sun's planet and sand. Also, I apologize for any name cuts. I don't know the Dune too well. The post said that this custom Xbox Series X is a true collector's item for fans. In addition, Xbox introduces the world's first floating Xbox controller, hovering above oceans of sand dunes, just like an ornithopter. The visually stunning design will look great in any living room, they said. And as I see by the image over here, you can see that the image is quite amazing. Honestly, it really does look like it's floating in the air, and that's quite incredible. The Xbox Series X console takes the inspiration of a little more literally, creating a giant, much less subtle stand that looks like the flying machine. An orange version of the console slots into the back, and like most of Microsoft's fancy Xbox controllers, this set of hardware can be won in a competition. So fans must follow Xbox on Twitter and retweet the official Xbox sweepstakes post between February 13th and March 25th. And whoever wins it gets to showcase it off. And to be honest with you, I wish I would get it. I'm not a big Xbox person, but for the fact that they created something so unique, trust us, guys. Remember, Xbox has made a Willy Wonka themed Xbox controller and console, a Sonic the Hedgehog 3 fuzzy controller, blue fuzzy Sonic and Knuckles. There has been one for Doom now. So I'm genuinely intrigued of what Xbox is going to do next. And honestly, the sky's the limit here. If they could do this, then they could do anything. Anyways, I actually really like this news. And if you like the news, make sure to look it up. I recommend going on Twitter and retweeting that for that chance of getting this awesome Xbox controller. But anyways, I'm going to be bringing you next up to Logan, who's going to teach us some cooking knowledge.
Hello, Youth Connect. Hello, Youth Connect, and welcome to what will be the first part of a three-part series. So, as you know, I am a graduate from the Culinary Management program in Humber, and so right now I don't have any lab classes going on, and that means that my toolkit is not being used as much as it usually is. So I decided that I'd put it to some good use and do a little tour of my Humber toolkit. This will include all the little chef gadgets and doohickeys that come in this toolkit. And there'll be a 3-part series. There are 3 compartments in this whole thing, and so we'll do 1 part for each compartment. Starting off with our first compartment, the knife compartment. So I'll just go over each one of these little tools. Not all of them are knives, but yeah, I'll start from left to right. So starting off first, what we have here is a pair of poultry shears. These shears are essentially used to break down a chicken or turkey into different manageable pieces. Like we all know the classic KFC 8-piece. They probably use something like this to break it down into those 8 different pieces. We actually don't use this a whole lot at Humber. I can't really seem to remember ever using this thing. Even when we were breaking down poultry, I don't even remember being taught to use this. But yeah, this is what the purpose of it is. You can see here that there's a little lock at the very center, and that's to keep this thing closed. And so if I just disengage this lock with the simple flip, it just pops out like that, and it's kind of scary, but my hand was away from the blades, so it's all good. So I'll just put it back into its lock, and we can move on to the next part of my knife compartment. And this part is a classic. It is a very classic, very large, very powerful chef's knife. If you could only use one knife in the whole world for the rest of your life, a chef's knife is the best choice. It's probably the most dynamic. It has the most uses. Very powerful, very sharp. You can use it to cut pretty much anything. And so yeah, looking at this knife, I'd say it's actually a little bit larger than most chef's knives. I know the ones that I use at home are a little bit shorter than this one. But yeah, very strong, very powerful. A general all-round blade to use. The next knife that I'll talk about is a bread knife. Now what you can see almost immediately that separates a bread knife from other knives that you may have in your home is if I bring it up close, you may notice these little serrated teeth. Those teeth are to help catch it onto the bread and help slice it a lot more cleaner. If you try and slice bread with, say, a chef's knife, it won't work so well. It'll just squish the bread and you'll have very bad compressed bread. This is used to more delicately slice the bread, prevent it from getting crushed when you slice it. So overall, another pretty useful knife. Doesn't see as much action. It's pretty much only used to cut bread. You can use it to cut sandwiches too if you don't want to crush that too. But yeah, that would be a bread knife. Now I have 2 different types of knives here coming right up. I'll start with this one first. This is a little bit of a smaller knife. This knife is specifically used to cut meat or fish. That's what separates it with the blue handle. We generally only use this type of knife whenever we are butchering meat or fish. That comes up to the second knife that I have as well. It's another blue-handled knife. Compared to the other one, you can see that this one is thinner but longer. And it's actually somewhat flexible. I'm not really going to demonstrate it here, but it flexes a little bit. And this one is specifically used for deboning. Basically, since it flexes, it could be brought right to the edge of the bone. And it can help strip the meat directly off the bone, and so you don't waste any meat whenever you're doing your little butchering thing. So yeah, these are these 2 butchery knives. The next knife is probably one that some people have already at their homes as well. This is a paring knife. It is a much smaller knife, and it's used for a lot smaller jobs than, say, a big bulky chef knife. It can be used for like more finer detail cuts or for like peeling vegetables. Really, if you're gonna peel vegetables, a peeler would be better. But if you don't have one, a little paring knife would be just the perfect tool for it. But yeah, it's a very light, compact knife, but they will get the job done for like fine detail work. Now the next tool that I have here is actually a very unique one. This is a turning knife. You can see that this is a very unique looking knife. It kind of has like a hook shape. And this knife is used for one very specific purpose, and that's to turn the vegetables. Now, turning is a specific technique for it's like a specific style of vegetables. I believe it's very popular back during like the 80s and 90s. It's fallen back a lot now. I actually have a picture of what these turned vegetables look like. I'll show you. They're like a neat little football shape. But I will say that this is a very hard technique to do. There's a reason why most restaurants don't really serve vegetables like this. And that's because turning vegetables, getting that shape correct is very difficult. Yeah, and it produces a lot of waste too. But yeah, you can use it to turn just about any long tubular vegetable. It's all pretty hard, but some vegetables are a lot easier to do with it. Like carrots, for instance, I'd say is probably the hardest vegetable to do with it because carrots are very hard, and so it's very easy to make mistakes in the like carving out the little football shape. Zucchini, the one at the very end here, I'd say is probably the easiest actually. It's very soft. And just like you see with this design, when you turn a zucchini, you have to leave a little bit of the skin behind just for like some aesthetic flair. But yeah, that just about does it for a turning knife. Now the last two tools that I have in my knife compartment aren't actually knives, but they're still pretty useful. First one is pretty basic. It's basically just a long metal spatula, and this is mostly used to spread things across different foods. Like you can use it to spread spreads onto like bread, or more commonly, this will probably be used to do like spreading frosting, buttercream onto cakes. And you can use this tool to smooth it out and give yourself like a very nice smooth cake design. The perfect canvas for some other decorations to go on those cakes. And so there is one last tool that is part of this knife compartment that is super important. What I have here is something known as a honing rod. And the purpose of this, it's basically like a solid metal rod, and I believe it's actually coated with diamond. And it has to be coated with it because it has a very important task of basically helping to hone the knives, to keep them sharper for longer. And so I'll do a little demonstration on how to use a honing rod, and I'll use my paring knife as an example. Now, when it comes to honing knives, you want to make sure that you're meeting the rod with the bevel, the very sharp edge of the knife. And so generally that bevel is somewhere between like 11 degrees, roughly. And so I'll tell you how you could just eyeball that 11 degrees. First, you hold the knife blade perpendicular with the honing rod, and this would be a 90 degrees. Then you move it like halfway, that would be 45, another halfway, 22, and then finally one more final halfway, and that would be like the 11 degrees. And so what you do is you just drag it along the honing rod very fast to sharpen the knife, just like this. I don't know if the sound is very audible with this small paring knife. I'll show it again. This time I'll use my chef's knife, and you should probably really hear it sing. And so basically what the purpose of a honing rod is like as you use a knife, the blade will sort of start to curl up a little bit. Like I'd say not like the whole blade at once, but like as you use a knife, like little bits of the blade will probably chip off slightly and will begin to curl backwards. And basically, the whole purpose of the honing knife is to basically just roll those chips back into place. Now, these little curls can be like very microscopic, like basically impossible to see with the human eye, but you will notice them whenever you're cutting. If you cut it, you'll notice that your knife is starting to feel dull. And once you sharpen it with this honing rod, it will make it feel a lot smoother, a lot easier to cut through. And so basically, I would say that this just about sums up my tour of the first of 3 compartments in my toolkit. This only makes up part 1 of the series. And the second part, we'll go over this little compartment over here, see what sort of interesting tools and gadgets there are on here. And yeah, that will just about do it for today, though. And back to you, Aiden.
I don't know if I could, Logan, but I would really love to use that spatula in one of my paintings. I have a huge canvas, and I really, really, really want to use that spatula. Do you think that I could borrow it, Logan? Maybe borrow it for a little bit?
I'll have to think about it.
All right, I'll take that as a maybe. So I guess that's a win in my book. Thank you so much, Logan. Awesome information. And that cooking bag is quite interesting. It has almost everything you need for your cooking needs, from a bread knife. And technically you were on the knife section, so I'm very intrigued about what's the next section of that awesome bag that you have. All right. You know what? Since we have the time to do it, it is actually time for our board game of the week. We haven't had it in quite a while, but now we're going to bring it back. So I know that you guys love board games. I love board games. I hope you love board games. And now it's time for a board game that I think that you should check out. Anyways, today's board game of the week is Wormspan. What the heck does that mean? You are an amateur dracologist. I think that's what they call it, a dracologist. What does that mean? Well, in the world of Wormspan, a place where dragons of all shapes, sizes, and colors roam the skies. You must excavate a hidden labyrinth you recently unearthed and entice these beautiful creatures to roost in the sanctuary of your caves. So in a game of Wormspan, you will build a sanctuary for dragons of all shapes and sizes. Your sanctuary begins with 3 excavated shapes and the leftmost space in your Crimson Cavern, your Golden Grotto, and your Amethyst Abyss. Over the course of the game, you will excavate additional spaces in the sanctuary and entice dragons to live there, chaining together powerful abilities and earning the favor of the Dragon Guild. Wormspan is actually inspired by the mechanisms of Wingspan, which we've talked about before, though its unique elements make Wormspan a standalone game. This game is not compatible with Wingspan, just so you guys know, because one's about birds and this one's about dragons. And I don't know about you, but I don't think birds and dragons are the exact same thing, so definitely wouldn't work. I like Wormspan. It actually looks like quite a lot of fun. If you guys like dragons, I bet you'll love Wormspan. Very interesting fact that I want to ask, if you guys have a board game that you want me to check out, please put it in the comments so I can see which examples you give. Now, I will say this in advance. I want board games that I've never seen before. Like a board game that I'm going to be like, what in the world is this board game? So less of like Monopoly and Clue and Guess Who, and more like I know my mom once gave me a board game called Burger Time, where you had to make burgers on an automated conveyor belt. And that definitely was a board game that I did not expect. So if you have any interesting board games that I have never heard of, or you think I've never heard of, I recommend that you send it in the comments, and maybe it'll show up in the next episode of Youth Connect. Anyways, though, This is where I stop. And next up, we have the final person of our crew, the cherry on top, in my honest opinion, because next up we have Jeffrey, and he is going to be bringing us some live music.
Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing? And it is that time again for me to bring some music to you all, and hope you get up and dance and have a good time. I'm gonna be playing a song that I did a couple of Fridays ago, but unfortunately, because you guys never got to see it, I thought I'd redo it again. And I'm going to be playing Banana Pancakes by Jack Johnson with a little help from my kazoo here to give it a little jive, a little twist onto it. So here we go. Can't you see that it's just raining? Ain't no need to go outside. But baby, you hardly even notice when I try to show this song is meant to keep you from doing what you're supposed to. Waking up too early, baby, we can sleep. Making banana pancakes, pretend like it's the weekend now. We can pretend it all the time. Can't you see that it's just raining? Ain't no need to go outside. Ain't no need. Rain or day, I don't mind. Let's go. Baby, like a ukulele. Mama made a baby. I really don't mind the practice, 'cause you're my little lady. Lady, love me. Darling, baby, lazy. We can close the curtains, pretend like there's no world outside. We can pretend it all the time. Can't you see that it's just raining? Ain't no need to go outside. Ain't no need. Rain, I don't mind. We can pretend it all the time. Can't you see that it's just raining? Ain't no need to go outside. Ain't no need. Rain night, day, and I don't mind. Oh, telephone saying rain, it's too early, don't pick it up. We don't need to, we got everything we need right here. Everything we need is enough. Oh, it's so easy when the whole world fits inside of your arms. Don't really need to pay attention to the alarm. Wake up slow. Uh-oh, you gotta wake up slow. But baby, barely even notice when I try to show this song is meant to keep her from doing what you're supposed to. Like waking up too early. Oh baby, we can sleep in. I'll make you banana pancakes and pretend like it's the weekend right now. We can pretend it all the time. Can't you see that it's just raining? Ain't no need to go outside. Ain't no need, ain't no need. Rain a day and I really don't mind. No, I don't mind. Can't you see, can't you see? Gotta wake up slow. Thank you, everybody. This is Jeffrey, your live musician. See you all next Friday. And make sure to check out my website, jeffreyinkerman.com. Anyways, back to you, Aiden. Bye, everybody. Happy weekend.
All right. So I'm. Oh, wait. No, we're here. We're here, guys. Woo! Thank goodness. All right. Just before we go, I just want to inform you guys on one thing. If you guys know, today some of you guys have the day off. And on Monday, you also get the day off. But on Monday, if you guys know, is going to be Family Day. So on Family Day at 11 a.m., if you guys watch the Project Autism page, you will see that we are going to be hosting, or the Super Ability Crew, you'll see it on both. We will be hosting at 11 a.m. a Family Day General Knowledge Kahoot. So if you would like a little bit of a challenge and you want to test your general knowledge skills, I really will be sending out an invitation, and I highly am going to be recommending it to you guys because honestly, it's going to be a lot of fun, and you can get bragging rights whoever gets first place. So it could be a fight. It's going to be a lot of fun, but it's going to be all about family. It's going to be a little bit of general knowledge, so it's going to be a mixture of everything. But we have reached the end of Youth Connect. If you like Youth Connect, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And don't forget to click the notification bell.
Other than that, guys, I really hope that you have a great rest of your long weekend. I hope I can see you guys on Monday at 11 a.m. Make sure to check the Super Ability Crew website, and we will see you all next time. Goodbye, guys.
Bye.